Welcome to Desk Dynamics. This is a podcast where we talk about some of the cool things that we're doing in the service desk to move towards our target picture, which is to deliver great user experience through expertise and technology. My guest today is Suba. Hi, Suba. Thank you for joining the podcast.
Hi, Dilla. It's awesome to be here. Thank you for having me in your podcast.
Go ahead and introduce yourself.
Sure. I'm Suba. I'm the head of Service Desk Asia. I've been leading the team in Asia for the past 2 years now. And I've been with the organization for almost slightly more than 20 years.
It seems like you get a lot of energy out of just working with other people. Where does that come from, Suba?
If you've been as long as I've been in the organization, I think you've seen a lot of things that has happened, a lot of changes that has taken place. A lot of people come and go. A lot of people also grow. And I think the most important thing is that you were part of all that growth. And that feeling is very exhilarating. That feeling is very rewarding when you see somebody is empowered and somebody grows and somebody, grows through their career and becomes what they want or to achieve the goals that they've actually set, right? And when you have played, however small or big part in that, helping the person grow, that feeling is really, really very rewarding. And I think the whole idea and the whole feeling is to, okay, how do I take this? How do I elevate this to the next level, right? With so much of experience and so much of exposure and knowledge, I think it's just the rightful thing to do to bring that all together and see where I can really support in terms of bringing people together, bringing, closing the gaps that we have today and stuff like that, right?
In a certain sense, this is exactly what the service desk is all about, isn't it? Because in order for us to get anything done, we have to coordinate with a lot of different teams and make sure we understand what's happening with services, make sure we understand what's changing, what new knowledge we need to gain, and all of that. So it's your skill set in that sense and your interest in connecting with people is really well suited to the job.
I think I've always had passion. I mean, I started my career in service desk, right? So, and this is where, with the initial phase of the voice of the customer, the voice of the user, if you would say, right? So it's really been great being part of service desk. I mean, I stepped out for a bit, did something else, and then my calling was to come back into service desk because there was so much of things that still can be done. And I saw how service desk was growing, and I wanted to be a big part of that growth that was happening within service desk, right? So I mean, this is where I think I belong, and I can do a lot more to support the team and the organization.
Well, we're lucky to have you, Suba. Um, we're we're here to talk about mesh today. So tell me, what is this mesh thing that we're here to talk about?
Um, it seems like this buzzword, right? It's going around the organization today. But I think we need to take a step back and really understand it for ourselves. What is MASH, right? We see a lot of opportunities to, connect with somebody, have a conversation with someone, learn from somebody. But I think what we really need to do is to make it more sustainable, right? Make it something that you can continuously look as an opportunity to fully bring out the benefit of it, right? So we started off with this thing called Mash Friday now. And we just had our first session a week ago where we mashed with this team from ISQ, the shift admin team, right? The whole idea is to break the barriers, to get to know one another. What does service desk do? What does the shift team do? How can we combine our values and, ideally improve and enhance the user experience, right? And that can only be achieved if we understand what are our common goals, what are our challenges today, who is who. In service desk today, we interact a lot by the chats and telephones, right? And since with this hybrid setup, half of us are not in the office or not in the same physical location. So putting a face to the name kind of brings you closer to that person and you appreciate everything that that person is actually doing, right? So you have this intense feeling of wanting to connect with this person now because I've understood your nature of your work and how we can work together to achieve that amazing user experience.
Mhm. I think this whole idea of mesh is very powerful also because the services that we provide to the business are very complicated and you can't, no single team can really deliver the service to the uh, business, right? You need a lot of different teams working together. And the formal connections that we have between the team, between the various teams, are just not enough. You need a lot of informal connections outside of the established hierarchy and reporting lines and communication channels and so on. You need a lot of informal connections between people in order for us to really work and deliver the service end to end for the business. And you have not one, but actually two different formats that you've started recently, which help us connect with other people in the organization better. One of them is the one you mentioned just now, the Mesh Friday. And then you have another one. It's something to do with coffee. Tell us about that.
Sure. All right. So, this the coffee with business. Yes, that's what we are calling it for now, right? So this came back to us some years back, about 2 years ago. We were sitting down in a round table with the leadership team talking about, all right, how do we get a little bit more intimate with our business users, right? Our business colleagues. Today we've got a lot of conversations with them in a service reviews or an escalation. But beyond that, we want to really connect with our business. We want to have this heart-to-heart conversation and really understand, okay, how can we really support you, and vice versa? How can you support us grow and improve our services as well, right? So that's when this idea, Coffee with Business, came about. So it was a very informal session where we invite the business colleagues, the country ISMs, the BUIT to come together with us, hypothetically in a virtual coffee session, right? We did this online via Teams. We introduced ourselves, what is Service Desk, what are our targets, who are we, and what are we today delivering, the promises that we want to deliver. And we also heard from the business, what are their challenges today, what would they want us to change, so slowly that grow into a little bit more of a specific topic. Business came back and said, hey, why don't you do a session on Microsoft Teams? We want to hear about how are certain things done in Teams so that we can solve tickets better, we can report incidents better and stuff like that, right? So that's how the whole Coffee with Business grew. Today we have roughly about, we do this every quarter, and we have about 200 people joining us from each business divisions in that call. It has been really successful. This year, we took it even further, where we collaborated with teams within ITS to coming together with us so that they can answer any questions. Subject matter expert from this team come together with us into this calls and drive those conversations with the users, right? So it has been really great. Great, amazing feedback from the business. They want us to do this more frequently. Once a quarter is too little. They want us to have more sessions. So that's amazing feedback. So that kind of shows that they see the value in this Coffee with Business session. And we've also taken this now globally. We started this something in Asia, and now we have our colleagues in the other regions who also want to drive something similar in their regions, right? So this is how amazing Coffee with Business is. And this is something that we see that, has also improved the way we work with the business, the relationship, the kind of way tickets are being reported today, the way we are engaging with the support team today. So this has improved the way we work today with the business together with the end-to-end value chain within ITS.
So tell me about what our team is saying about. Let's start with Mesh Friday. What did they learn? I know you mentioned you did a session with the Shift team. This is the team that supports servers, right? The operating system support.
Yes.
So tell me about what our team is saying about this session. What did they learn?
There's a lot of positive feedback. They like the way the team presented themselves, the way they know where they are currently located. There was lots of question about, how do we know we are assigning it to the correct work group? Because we have seen a lot of high reassignments with the shift admin team where tickets were wrongly assigned because of not having the right information, right? So there was lots of questions to understand that better. There was back and forth chat between the shift admin team and service desk going around in the background as well as the MASH session was going on. We did not have enough time to cover all the questions. We took it offline and we made sure that all the answers were given by the shift admin team as well, right? So the team really felt that there was a lot of value coming from this. They understand the other team a little bit more better. The thing that was so much of common things between us, right? We provide first level support, we work on shift, we are 24/7, we are located, in all the three different data centers. So that was a common thing that we found about us, and we kind of appreciated the teams in that sense.
Nice. And what about the shift team? What was the feedback from them?
I think generally they felt like, well, okay, now we know that this is what service desk does. Or we didn't know that service desk also had language supports. Like for example, there was a question that we asked during the poll, where do not have German language support out from, right? So, we had options and stuff like that. And there was, a realization, oh, I did not know that you did not have German support out of Chennai, India, right? So it was a real good realization of the scale of service desk support, what languages we provide. We also do 24/7, what kind of tickets, challenges that we actually have today, so that we can feed you with more information, making sure Guru is updated with the correct mandatory information. So this was really a realization kind of a session as well. And it really brought the team much, much closer to kind of appreciate the challenges we have today, so that we learn from it and we kind of learn how to support each other through it as well.
Mm, nice. It's so great because we have the tendency to, you have something to do and you're focused on the task at hand, and you don't realize what's happening in somebody else's world. And it's only when you have an opportunity to connect in this way that you learn something about what's happening with another team that you're working potentially quite closely with, and you have a chance to empathize with their situation better when you have these kinds of touch points.
Yep.
Where would you like to take this platform next?
I think it's nice where we are today, and the kind of how we've evolved over the last 2 years. We are continuously looking at how we can improve this, right? So ideally, I would say that the next level to this would be that we look more internally within ITS, and that's when this MASH session also comes in handy, right? So we are mashing with all the teams, or we're trying to mash with some teams within ITS today, so we can also understand where we can work together and go into this coffee with business session, right? There may be something we feel that we have a common challenge today in a particular service or application. So we can collaborate and then take that into a coffee with business session, and educate the users, or create more awareness with the users, so that kind of really improves an end-to-end ownership, reduces ticket reassignments, improves ticket resolutions. And I think it kind of empowers the business as well to know that ITS is really vested in really looking into the best interest of the user experience.
Hmm. You answered my next question, which was, how do you know this is actually working?
Oh,
And
okay.
right now, you were just talking about all the ways, all the measurable ways in which it improves our service, right? It certainly has the warm and fuzzy factor going for it, because you bring people together and they see each other and talk to each other and appreciate what is happening in a different part of the organization. But we're not doing this just for the just to create a warm feeling. We're doing it for measurable improvement in our service. And you highlighted how you're measuring that. That's fantastic. So outside of your service desk role, you're also creating opportunities for women leaders in ITS to come together, and that's another mesh format that you're helping to drive. Tell me about that.
So I was part of this pioneer group of women at ITS, and it was really one of a kind of a program that was introduced, and I took advantage of being part of it, as I wanted to really see how I can bring my experience and my my knowledge and my skills in inspiring other women in the organization. At the same time, learning from all the other wonderful women in the organization as well, right? So, and recently we started this Women at ITS MASH, and I also, took a step forward and said I would like to represent the women in Cyberjaya to be the regional connector. And so happened that last Friday we started our first MASH section. So we had a potluck breakfast in Cyberjaya, where we had this really amazing group of women that came together, a lot of exchanging of views and ideas, mainly sharing, right? What was their challenges while enjoying the variety of breakfast spread that we actually had, right? So it's really really rewarding that when we come together, we are able to leverage on each other's experiences, empower one another. There was no shy of sharing experience, no short of stories to tell. Everyone had something to bring to the table, right? And I think that is the most beautiful and powerful thing to do, and to be able to drive such an event and continue to do that. I think for me it's a personal fulfilling, because I also feel like there's a huge responsibility on my shoulder as a woman leader in this organization to set the right example, to help others, to also by sharing my story and my experience to uplift and empower them, right? So, and I think it's nice to see how a lot of other women who wants to do the same thing, and I'm looking forward to seeing this women at ITS MASH grow, and how we would actually, as come together as a group of women, and empower one another and learn from one another.
It's really heartwarming to hear you describe how you're doing this, and I can see the joy on your face as you talk about it, which is fantastic.
Okay.
And of course, food is always welcome, right? Especially in
Yes.
Asia, um, everything revolves around food. Nothing really happens without sharing food with each other, which
Food
is
brings
great as well.
additional joy. Yes.
Indeed. Suba, thank you for driving these formats, bringing people together within ITS and also with the business. And I'm looking forward to taking this to the next level, as you said. And thank you for being on the podcast and sharing this with us.
Thank you for having me here, Diller. It was really nice. Enjoyed all the questions, and I think it was really very close to my heart. And I really look forward for taking this to the next level. I look forward to all the support that I'm going to get after this podcast. More teams will come and approach Service Desk and will want to mash with us, right? So I'm really, really excited and looking forward to that.